11 said it best. It's too early to tell, especially with tomorrow being 1.5x points. Anything can still change up on the leaderboard. Day 2 is where we'll truly see everything unfold. Back at Lavish Lair, though, Cringe and Noms once again in a quick head-to-head.
Yeah, and Cringe and Noms are one of those teams. They're not going to split the loot. They don't want to give half of Lavish Layer on up and then worry about where they're going to get their loot elsewhere during their loot path. They're a team that wants to make sure this team knows, hey, if you're going to land here, only one of us will make it out alive to finish this game out. And Cringe and Jake, you see them slowly but surely not taking the same aggressive spots on that drop. It shows a little bit of a sign of weakness in my eyes.
Thomas HD Queasy, still triple con, but once again, have their initial drop pretty uncontested, a freedom to loot a little bit before getting into the action. Last game, they basically got gifted an elimination as they came in for the third party. Will it happen again, though? I don't think the duos want to replicate that.
Yeah, I think a couple of these duos taking different spots this time around, including Queasy and Thomas, kind of switch things up, which kind of changes up the whole dynamic of that drop spot in the fight altogether. But fight that isn't going to switch up is going to be this one. Like I said, Cringe and Noms, they just want to prove their dominance here. 278 points so far in second place. And the games that they've had have been phenomenal. 8th, 4th, 2nd. Their worst game is a 13th with 6 elims. Like, that to me is surprising to say is your worst game.
I mean, it's insane. In terms of consistency, it is unreal. But it's difficult to keep that up. If anything, though, they can make it happen. But as that engagement continues, we can see what else is going on around here. Hidden in the bush, Jacob. No shots need to be shot here. He does not want to give away his position.
Oh.
Oh, do they know? Look at the mini-map. Look at the mini-map. The arrow eclipse pointing as the prey is now being hunted.
I really did like what he was thinking. I wish he would have just popped the banana in the fizz while he was still in the bush. That way when he finally ran, he can actually run. But you got to give him an A for at least the effort. Let's see how he's able to stay alive, and we'll grade that one. As Eclipse and Dexy just seem to be hot on the chase, even making him kind of tear off the side of the mountain. Noms and Cringe, they were at least able to get one elimination so far, and that's where you're seeing a lot of these early game skirmishes that have been drawn out, taking some time. They're getting quicker and quicker to the finish.
Continuing to hunt now in the 2v1. Upper hand for Cringe and Noms. All they got to do is continue chasing here. Not a lot of freedom for their opponent. As the white tag comes through, confidence rises. We got to be careful. Pump shot attempted, but not landed. It's going to be Noms that secures it.
What's great is that's almost like 8 free points. Anytime that team lands at free points, free surge. Obviously, it'll shake things up if they actually go down off spawn, because especially if it happens tomorrow and those 1.5 point multiplier, that's when things can come coming down. And then you also have that day to prepare, look back at a lot of the VODs, figure out what went wrong, figure out what went right, try to replicate the successes while minimizing the mistakes.
You know, what do you do at that point? You go like 0-6 day 1. Do you keep it going day 2 and just try and kind of adapt at the same drop spot, or do you switch it up? It's a tough decision you have to make.
Even seen teams like this, Vocal and Vortexers, they're switching things up. Really haven't had the best start to the days so far, even though there's 2 games left. It's not too late to just switch up where you're landing altogether, or just engage out of a fight right out of the gates. And as we tune in, Ve1ryy, Tayson, they already have a knock on the Podicide, which is quickly cleaned up by Ve1ryy. And they see where Snazy's at, so you know Tayson and Ve1ryy strapping up their laces because they're ready to go on the chase.
And it's not going to last too long, as Tayson now drops right onto Snazy's head. 2 shots being connected. Quick, clean way to finish it off.
Quick and easy. Talked about possibly pressing the panic button for a team like this. I feel like it's only a matter of time before they become online, start creating some consistency, and go back to the team and players that you know they can be, perform at the highest level. This is kind of a replay of the first one getting taken down and Tayson cleaning up Snazy back to back on M8.
Miko Pink up against CZB Nathan in the Grand Glacier. Haven't seen too many engagements since the first matches around here. But it looks like Vico and Pink They want to get those tags. They want that damage. But if the zone closes, they might be forced to move a little bit.
And this is a team I felt like we were going to definitely see at the top of the leaderboard, especially with how insanely consistent they've been. Not just the qualifiers weeks 1 and 2, but how insanely they were consistent throughout the semifinals as well. I didn't really see them having as many struggles as they had. Third place, 7 elims was their best game, and they kind of fell down the ladder from there. But if a team, any team, can take fire late in the final day of today and kind of start that momentum for tomorrow, it is going to be Pink and Vico.
Panzer trying to hit some shots onto Fit. Know about Halo, but with nothing connecting just yet, and one player down, is going to be forced to go deeper and deeper into Storm. As now the porta party is going to take him back in.
I'm excited to see a little bit more of this early game from Swizzy and Ve1ryy. Kind of see what they're doing. You see them kind of leaving Mount Olympus, which means they had an early rotation out of Brawler Battlegrounds. Throughout the day, you have seen almost a must carry out of this team and some others of the Wings of Icarus. And then they kind of have the Flowberry Fizz and the Legendary Banana to kind of round it out. And the Flowberry Fizz gives them 2 options. You use it regularly, as normally everybody does, or you combine it with the Wings of Icarus to cover more ground much quicker.
Marius left as a solo once again. Being forced to do anything he can. 169 effective HP and shield up against Cheap and Turtle. But I got faith in Marius here. I'll keep it a buck, Jacob. I think he can make it happen. They are in 12th place on the leaderboard. Turtle and Sheep being in 34th. You can tell they're almost a little scared here to go in, even though they know it's a solo. Can Marius connect the snipe, though? Unable to.
It's almost like going to be a must for him to connect something if he's looking to continue to try to stay alive. Sooner or later, he's going to run out of those dashes. Finally peeking back. Misses that one on the Turtle. But he's getting ever so much closer as he changes directions very, very quickly, trying to keep his opponents on their toes. Back into the dashes, dips a toe in, and this is going to be his biggest chance to try to create as much distance as possible. Last dash going to be out. Marius, he's doing a good job of creating so much space. I got to give him so much credit for it.
But the hunt is going to continue, Jacob. He's not done yet. The mission isn't over. He starts swimming further and further away. This is going to be a long run. I mean, either he hits an insane snipe, or eventually they're going to catch up. And they're going to have to take that fight.
It's almost like they know where players that land the Underworld commonly position themselves at. Because even though Marius did a huge cut towards the left, Cheeps and Turtle following him on that same cut towards the left. And I think they lost him. I think they finally lost him. Don't know exactly where he's at. You see Marius in the minimap just north of the Underworld has finally successfully escaped Turtle and Cheeps. Someone
who might be looking to escape shortly. The Buell has lost Velvis. Or Relvis, sorry. So we'll have to see how the escape continues.
It's only really a question of, does he have the reboot card? He did a good job of creating a space, creating distance. But if he doesn't have the reboot card, he's going to have to backtrack, go in that position. And even see just southeast of where he's kind of running to, that little gas station that is parked by. Actually, I do believe that's the bunker. Excuse me there. And with the bunkers opening up, he can rotate in this direction, kind of spot, get information. And he's hoping that a lot of these teams that are positioned towards the north, or anybody for that matter, will try to contest a bunker, so that makes it an easy rotation for him to a reboot van.
It's also a great opportunity for duos that want to do a bit of damage. Bilbio, though, seems like he's interested. Has he seen something? Does he know? The Trexer is right there as the builds start coming through. He hears the footsteps now. The movement as it's turned into a box fight.
He almost gets boxed up. Path cut off. Shield no more. He does have some left in the inventory. It's just about if he has the timing and the space to try to disengage from this opponent. And it does look like they're ready to go on the chase themselves. He finally makes it to get a couple more dashes, but so do his opponents. Dancing all around, dropped to just 13 HP. Really not given an opportunity to try to survive. Trying to create space. Eventually, he goes down to Trexer and Silly Seb. Forzen, they all enter the mix, and that's the thing. You hear the noise, you hear a lot of the fights, and you attempt to try to third party it.
Yeah, the commotion comes through, and it's an opportunity for the other duos in the surrounding area. ve1ryy Eclipse raining from above with that water-bending Mythic onto Pixie and Walks, which are fully boxed up here with, it seems to be no interest of anything except for maybe a potential knockdown as I hear the shots coming through. They might want to break down these builds. Eclipse ve1ryy aware of this, popping a Flowberry to evade that fall damage. And it looks like just one more build needs to be edited here for it to get chopped down.
Quickly protecting themselves as well. Pixie doing the right thing of creating space between him and the falling players. That achieves a high ground positioning for them, and they're ready to go ahead and continue to put that pressure down. But you see how careful they're actually being. Instead of entering into the fight, they're taking it layer by layer, piece by piece. And as ve1ryy and Eclipse fall down, Pixie and Walks slow to follow.
Looks like they want to continue though. Even though they did take height here, they're still looking for angles, still looking for shots. They know how important it could be, especially later on in this match. There's more than enough ammunition to spare. They're going to continue seeing if they can connect anything else.
Yeah, and I was going to say, the further down they go, you're almost trapping yourself with only one exit plan, and ve1ryy and Eclipse quickly find that porta potty to try to loop and exit out of there, and then almost gives them the free rotation side of the mountain. They're also going to get a chance to get those underworld dashes, so I think that's going to be a successful disengage out of that situation.
Interesting structure has been built here at Lavish. Shows how many spare materials there might be. As Noms is just going to be maybe taking a nap here as he waits for his opponents to leave and even the zones to pull further away.
Trying to say Ve1ryy and Hallie, they're the ones that position just right outside. You see Axe Force in the distance along with his teammate. A lot of time to wait, especially since the zone is kind of in that position. So my only hope he has is currently having the reboot card. As we take a look, another rotation from Queasy and Thomas. Game after game, they find themselves deep into the zone, trying to rotate on and out, scrabbing together to get any fallen loot, as you see, using the bandages, then the med kit. Just trying to get anything in your inventory that you can get your hands on. You see the foraged fruits and vegetables probably going to be next. But they just have to be careful because right now they're separated Reckless Railways trying to get together some loot. But they have CZB and possibly Nathan as well as a third-party potential ready to pounce if they don't catch him.
So is Ve1ryy in first place. Now also going to be the first duo to claim the Rift Island. Little extra loot. Nice positioning. You can even see taking some tags through that bush bomb.
Good shots.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, do you think they have the medallion, or do you think they one of those teams that drop the medallion because they don't think it really does enough? It gives you extra damage for the scoped weapons, but I don't think it really does a ton of damage. So you think they're one of the teams that carry the medallion? Do you think they leave the medallion because they don't want their position to be known?
I wonder if it depends. I wonder if it's like, you know, what do we feel in this game? Are we going to just play a bit more aggressive? Doesn't matter if we have the medallion, or maybe want to do a little sneaky, uncongested rotate. They can kind of decide, choose to their liking on how the match is looking. Camiseti, 531 damage above the threshold currently with that one elimination. They will combo the Flowberry Fizz plus a launch pad to now most likely pick the ideal rotate where they don't run into a lot of players as they have the freedom to do so.
Yeah, I expect them to hit one more launch pad along the way. It's like that little mountain just above towards the right side, but you see them... Something that they used in the last game as well. They used the Flowberry Fizz, the late launch pads, because they are contested and have options around them to get that early surge. They're not looking for 500 right out of the gates. They're just looking for about 100, 200 surge so they can make rotations just like this. But as we tune in, a team that's finding those struggles. Trulex, Chicho, 170 points, but once again separated as a solo.
Ooh, this is dangerous. He is going to choose to disengage with the dashes, but rebooting this late in the match is incredibly difficult, so this might just be another solo game.
Yeah, we've seen Chicho do it in game one. Trulex do it last weekend, but now it's just a whole different situation. Feeling the pressure. So many angles. Now they're just trying to break into the box. 1 HP, pop the legendary banana. Not enough. Reason is going to be the one to take him down, but he was solo, Takada. How did Trulex go down? Well, it was a well-placed snipe by Ve1ryy.
What a way to go down. Noms, remember, he was the one just crouching behind a box at Lavish Lair, waiting for the zone to pull away, and now he's used that as his chance to make his way on in. He has a good amount of loot alongside his materials, so if he doesn't get spotted here, he should just be able to keep sneaking his way into zone.
Kind of see just eyeing, getting as much information as possible. I think that team might have a little bit of inkling that somebody is floating around, especially little audio cues like that. But Mappy and Kiro might not necessarily know that Noms is a solo, and you see him double checking, triple checking, peeking towards the outside. Anybody else slow to rotate in? And you almost have to take those extra couple seconds to be careful like that, because you don't have your teammate, those extra set of eyes. At least for now, as Noms does look like to have his eye on a possible reboot opportunity at one of these split areas, but so many other teams, 2 to be exact, have noticed him moving in that direction as a solo.
That was a good crouch there to get a bit of vision, but look, it's Ve1ryy and his duo partner, Seb, that are going to be looking to capitalize on the situation, but Noms quickly to build up and say, look, if you want to take this battle, I'm going to make it take a long time for you, so you better start running away.
And this is only just going to help Noms if he can come out on top of the fight, disengage or not, because now you're just building up his Storm Surge damage. You could easily just let him kind of get taken out by the zone altogether. Silly Seb on the other side. Noms trying to break into the box. This is where you have that 1v1 separation, but finally in comes Ve1ryy, disrupting the fight yet again, trying to save Silly Seb, who actually got knocked. Seb,
I think, even just fell down and twisted his ankles there on the ground to get knocked, but at least his duo partner cleaned it up. Ve1ryy, Ve1ryy, both players still up now. Shots trying to come through, but nothing big connected once again. Opponents getting picked by Storm Surge. They do not want to let them do damage as they're already above. It's almost just a waiting game here.
Yeah, may not necessarily know that those players are suffering the Storm Surge up until now, where shields get cracked just like that, and now they know their opponents are weak. Either taking damage from outside, but even they can notice no other shots pouring in, so it has to be Storm Surge, and you can see why they're playing very, very slowly, very calculated, knowing that team is taking damage. Eventually, they're going to have to push into Ve1ryy and Ve1ryy, and it's going to be a trap waiting for them.
It's a tough spot to be in. Making a comeback from that situation is almost impossible, but if anyone's going to do it, it's those that have qualified to the grand finals. But with Ve1ryy and Ve1ryy being on the other end of that doorway, just a couple shots are going to need to be landed here.
Just great teamwork for them. Ve1ry's just spraying one side of the build, forcing them to hold their position, hold their cover, while Ve1ryy is playing up, playing aggressive, making sure that they can't disengage either. Now that they got some shots when it came to that Storm Surge, 324, they instantly start their rotation out. They combine the Flowberry Fizz and the Wings of Icarus, and we were seeing it go so well up until this point, but those are the fine examples of what happens when you get caught off guard traveling through the sky.
A lot of materials have been forced to be used now. They will be able to recuperate what they lost, but might lead to a earlier refresh. Walks Pixie, though. Also got themselves in a little bit of an engagement, but it looks like they might have just been the duo that came out on top. Nice little knock came through. And Walks and Pixie continuing now still below.
Yeah, and they spotted out Cammy, Seti over on the side, and it's almost an isolated fight. There is a couple teams positioned just high up on that hill, but that's not going to stop Walks and Pixie because they have no other choice. Their hand is being forced by Storm Surge, a blessing for Seti and Cammy because they're well above, and with a couple of shots, with a couple of tags from Storm Surge, they are huge leaders here in this one particular fight.
Oh, nice shots landed by Seti and Cammy to drop down Pixie. Now 344 above. Quick little refresh on a bit of the loot and materials. Walks left alone. Are they going to continue to apply that pressure, though? He's still getting ticked by Surge. They're going to hear the crack come through, knowing that he's low. But so far, they're just taking shots from afar. No push coming through yet.
Yeah, just continuously putting the pressure. And what that's doing right now is forcing Walks to potentially make a mistake. And the more pressure they put on, it kind of displaces Walks in different boxes, different elevations, to where that's where they're hoping things do slip up. Steady, Cammy just diving a little bit into the storm, but that's just because they want to make that quick and easy rotation where virtually nobody has yet to make their journey on over there, except for the ones that have been blessed the zone.
Oh, look at that, though. Sky and Scroll. They're back in business, but with no shield. They need to make some sort of miracle happen here as they trail behind. Try and drop right into a duo, but it might just lead to their demise as both players have gone down.
Yeah, sometimes it looks like it's just clear sailing ahead. You can start to pounce, but just that additional angle, that 1 second lapse of judgment that really cost you in the end. And this is why it's important. You know, no matter how much pressure they have went through, Ve1ryy and Swizzy, they're just continuously taking it one step at a time, and they immediately push forward and then find themselves a blessing. Combeck's going to go down, 348. Not much for the damage in the threshold, but they still have another team in their line of sights that's beginning to take the focus. And you can see a lot of the calculations going down as we're speaking to whether do they go for it, do they not go for it. Since they have the front side of zone, I think they're going to choose the easier, the less resistant path.
Nice way to slide on into that gift. You can see up above, it's Ve1ryy for Ve1ryy, who might just be able to maintain height here. Good zone close on that side, though. I'm trying to calculate it.
Wow.
Malabuka left alone, but with that loadout, Jacob, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar clutch to what we saw Cammy do not too long ago.
This is going to be a great opportunity if you're Swizzy and Ve1ryy to really create such a huge gap between you and the rest of the playing field. Yes, you have Seti, Cammy, Queasy, Thomas waiting in 4th and 5th place, but over 120-point deficit before they catch up. Tayson, Ve1ryy landing a couple good shots to get them 151 above the damage threshold. That's one of the things I feel like have been ailing them from time to time up to this position of the game. They're down on Surge, forced to fight, so as long as they stay ahead of the curve in this game, I think they'll be well off.
Queasy, nice quick tag in the air. Thomas HD has to be careful. He's been knocked down. Now left alone as paint gets cracked. Is he going to choose to play it slow here? Only 8 builds for Queasy. He really needs to find a refresh here.
Yeah, I think with Thomas going down, he has no choice but to play a little bit more passive, even though he landed that good shot onto Pink, dropping the shields, dropping the HP. At least they got themselves a little bit of a crevice that they can hang on to, safe from the zone while they heal up and kind of plan their next rotation, which seemingly for everybody get a pretty easy pull, which means it's going to be very, very chaotic for most as they finally pick the perfect time to try to rotate out.
Cammy Seti looking to pick some shots before rotation. I believe they have more than enough damage, so right now it's all just extra. As players plan their rotate. Zone starts closing now. Vico, Pink continue ahead. They have healed up now. Forced to use quite a bit of their Flowberry Fizz, but as they're grouped up, they're ready now to do more damage.
Yeah, this is one of the most consistent teams for a reason. They know how to get out of tough spots when it calls for it. Similar to Malabuka and Mustache. In that last major, they put the uncontested contested to rest as they win it all while being contested. But Pink goes down. Vico by himself. Huge elimination can be found onto Mappy. Get credit for those points and even more for the placements as his team is fully taken down. But Vico, 163 damage above the threshold. Only has bandages to his name to recover some of that HP. He's flying by, almost smooth sailing up until then to try to find his way to the front side of the zone.
Cracked down to 11, forced to pop the bandages now. Still has a Flowberry, so he can recuperate a bit of that shield, but he needs time. And with all the duos surrounding him, they're not giving him that time.
Just a moment to breathe is all he really needs. Same for Ve1ryy, who loses Swizzy and loses himself in the mix. First place is down, and it's really up to Queasy here. He's at the top of the leaderboard for players still left alive to really try to close that gap, but he needs to go big. He needs to start building momentum in his side. It's going to be virtually impossible with no builds.
No builds, but he has faith. It's Queasy we're talking about here. Eclipse, Dexy are going to be the ones that have claimed height. Vortex with Volko doing a good job of staying ahead and claiming low. Malabuka still up and running strong. 165 above. Doing a good amount of damage as well as he gets ahead with the dash.
Yeah, quickly utilizing that medallion time and time again. That way he doesn't take too much damage. Almost threads the needle with a snipe right there. But Malabuka's persistence. If at first you don't succeed, you try again. Run to the backside of the zone, finding only 1 bandage. But it was a sacrifice that was well worth making for Malabuka as he quickly finds himself inside of the zone in safety yet again.
Queasy taking down Tayson. Ve1ryy now left alone as Queasy goes down. Cammy once again, as well as a solo, looking to clutch it up.
Yeah, Cammy's already been in this situation once today, and he's ready for a tough task to try to pull through one more time with a good amount of points to keep him and Seti's position on that leaderboard intact. But you can see him trying to calculate, playing careful, along with Teeny Trap, chopping down the high ground, fighting for it for themselves. Dexy, Eclipse, everything comes crashing down. That opportunity slipped through Teeny's fingers, and him and Chap come crumbling down to the mid layer.
They said, you took us off height game 1. We're looking to claim our spot once again. Malabuka, though, one shot away from taking out Giraz. He does it. Gets the knock, claims the elim as well now. Materials have been recuperated, but there's duos in sight. He has to be careful.
Quick thinking to dash inside of the zone to land the shot that mattered. He could only take a few ticks to the storm, and he made it work. His Cammy now finally up for the challenge. Shari's the one to take him down. Multiple solos still scrounging around, but a couple of them were instantly taken down by Vocal and Vortexers.
Picked off one by one as Eclipse and Dexy once again have reclaimed the high ground, but they're not looking healthy. Eclipse just a sliver of HP. Meanwhile, Volko, Vortexers looking very healthy.
Man, they were one of the strong teams, Mini Miner's favorites, but instantly the curse happens. They go down. One's left with just a sliver of HP trying to survive the onslaught from Ve1ryy and Firehunter as they continue to smoothly move through this endgame as they go down to the ultimate low ground and bring it down to a final 2v2. Dexy and Eclipse, Ve1ryy and Firehunter.
Gotta farm the tree. They have barely no mats down below. Up height, dropping down, shots connecting. Dexy Eclipse goes down. It's all up to Dexy now, the 1 versus 2. Can he land his shots? He cannot, as Ve1ryy and Firehunter take it home.
And that is a prime example. Dexy and Eclipse trying to hold on the high ground zone after zone after zone. They ran out of materials, and eventually Firehunter and Ve1ryy just chopped them down in the palm of the hands, serving up a victory royale on the silver platter.
They were looking so healthy up on the high ground, but Chapantini said, we want a piece of that pie. The battle broke out, and it led to the duo up on height, Dexy and Eclipse, being forced to pop as many heals as possible, but they were just not able to hit those crucial shots in the last moments.
Yeah, and just you see them separated, falling down one after the next. Eclipse was easy. They took him down, and eventually the spray taking down his teammate as well. Just a huge victory royale for Firehunter and Ve1ryy, starting to build that confidence before the day is over.
Just one more game to be played out today, but we have to see how that's shaking up the leaderboard. So let's head over to the analyst desk and see what they've got for us.